Curious about RV life, but not sure where to start? Welcome to Wild Horses RV Adventures. And this is where we embrace the freedom of life on the road. Whether you're a full-time RVer, a weekend warrior, or just dreaming about the RV lifestyle, we share real-world tips, breathtaking destinations, and all the ups and downs of life on wheels. From hidden campgrounds to road trip hacks, we bring you practical advice and inspiring travel stories. Our goal is to help you navigate the RV lifestyle with confidence and excitement. So buckle up and let's explore the open road together. The first step to starting your RV journey is knowing why you want to do it. Freedom? Adventure? Minimalism? Those are all good ideas. You know, sometimes it's great just to run away from everyday life. Whether you have a job that you just need to get away from. You know, you may love your job, but still you need to get away sometimes. Adventure just adds that little spark, you know, it takes you out of your comfort zone. You know, sometimes that's really cool too. And you can do that in nature. It doesn't cost a ton of money. That's a consideration too. Minimalism, I don't know. We keep packing too much stuff in our RV. Now we're only part-time, but it's amazing how much stuff we can stick in that thing. So I'm not sure the minimalism really amounts to us, but maybe for you it does. That's definitely a consideration. Full-time versus RV part-time life. Well, right now, I'm still working full-time, so we are part-time. But I'm hoping someday in the future be able to go full-time. But if you're starting out with the RV lifestyle, I'd start doing part-time. Even before you buy a rig or anything, maybe rent one. Have you ever gone on a camping trip with a tent? You know, do you like getting out into nature? Do you like exploring new places? There's always advantages to having your own rig. And that means that your stuff is always where you put it the night before. Your bed is your bed. After having this hotel experience, which is, I'll go into that another day, I was horrified. In a hotel room, your routine is destroyed. You have no routine. You don't even know where your stuff is half the time. I come back to the room after a really long day and you're like, okay, now what do I do? In an RV, everything is where you put it. You only pack once, and it's in your drawers. The only time you unload it is when you go and wash everything. Or like in our case, since we're part-time, we have to take it home and wash it. So you have to decide what you want to do with that. Travel with pets, family, or solo? We travel with pets. Taking a pet to a hotel room it's an added expense, and you can't leave the pets alone, and there's a lot of places that you can't go with the pet, like the restaurants or maybe a national park. A lot of national parks don't allow dogs anymore, which is a problem. I want to take our pets with us, especially we have 4 cats and 1 dog. So yeah, now we're talking a little menagerie here. Family members, you might have little kids. They don't want to sleep in a strange spot every single night. That's kind of weird. It's nice to have their stuff, their pillow, their blanket, their stuffed toys with them. And if they're older, they come with you sometimes, maybe sometimes they won't. You never know. But that's always a consideration, is family. Solo, definitely. The RV lifestyle would be fantastic for someone that was solo. I mean, you get to put all your stuff where you want to put it. You're taking your rig with you, don't have anybody else to answer to. I think that would be great. Not all RVs are created equal, and choosing the wrong one can ruin the dream. Here's what you need to know. Find your perfect rig. There's so many different types of RVs. There's Class A's, Class B, Class C's, travel trailers, fifth wheels, truck campers. There's a huge range. You have to decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. That's a trick. If you already have a truck, maybe putting a camper on the back of it might be the easiest thing or the cheapest thing. Who knows? Fifth wheels have tons of room. You have a family, it's probably one of the best things. And of course, then you need the truck. Travel trailer, same thing. You need something to pull it with. It could be a SUV or something like that for a travel trailer. So that's definitely a consideration. Class A, B, and C, they have their own motors, so they tend to be more expensive, but they do serve a purpose too. You know, maybe you don't have a vehicle that you want to drag something around with. They're also easier to park, which a lot of people don't tend to mention, but yeah. When you're towing a trailer or a fifth wheel, you know, the back end goes the opposite direction the steering wheel does, yeah, that gets to be a little interesting. Trust us, we had a fifth wheel for 12 years and that we loved it dearly. It was a fantastic layout and we were really happy once we got there. Trying to back it into a parking spot created a lot of fighting. I'm being honest. You know, we had walkie-talkies, we had ham radios, we had cell phones, we tried it all. The problem is that the steering wheel, instead of turning in the direction you want it to go in, it's gonna go in the opposite direction than you want it to do. So now you have to hold the wheel by the bottom and try to turn it in the direction you want it to go, which is counterproductive. And if you're dyslexic like I am, it creates a whole nother series of problems. That's something to consider. The size, the storage, fuel economy, towing needs. You know, this is all plays into this. You have to decide, you know, what you can do. You know, what do you want to do? We kind of plunged into ours. We had a boat. Mike's family had a boat, so we did boats first for the first 10 years. And then we decided the fuel economy on a boat is just ridiculously awful. Let's just say that. I was like having a heart attack every time we filled the boat up. It was like $300. And you're filling two huge 150-gallon tanks. And way back then, you know, gas wasn't expensive. It is now. So we went from the boat, and then we sold the boat, and we got the RV. And we were like, oh my God, this costs nothing, you know? Instead of taking 5 hours to go to Mystic Seaport we're boated on the Hudson, to going 5 hours, and we got all the way up to Maine with half the gas. It was like a no-brainer for us, but we kind of slid into it kind of backwards. We didn't do a lot of flying places and hotels for the most part, so this was a wonderful transition to us. You know, the fuel economy was a biggie for us. Our towing needs, yeah, that was important. We already had a truck, so it was easy to slide into that. But it's always something to consider. New versus used. Knowing what I know now, I would say try to find used first. Great value. It's like buying a new car. You know, you get that hit the minute you leave the showroom, it depreciates instantly. We bought new with our fifth wheel. You know, I'm not sorry that we did, but our dealer turned out to be a real, how do I say this nicely? Yeah. There were issues, there were warranty issues that needed to be resolved. And we took it in for service. We gave it to them for a whole entire month. Now, this is way back in 2005. And we came and picked it up because we told them we were going on a trip with it. We were going to pick it up. We were going up to Maine. And we needed to pick up by this certain date. And he said, yeah, no problem. You know, they were going to do all the warranty work. There were a couple other things we wanted done. We told them we wanted it. They threw in a wash and wax for us for free. We had a cracked window and the exhaust fan didn't work. And there was a couple other things. Not deal breakers, but you know, stuff we expected to be fixed. Well, we get there and we're presented with this $1,000 bill. It was $1,000 some odd dollar bill. I don't know exactly. Of course, I saw red. So I'm like, well, where is the rig? I want to see what you did. I'm not paying you until I see that everything was fixed. So he goes out and they show us where the rig is, and I go in, I turn the lights on, and the lights don't work. Well, that's a new one. Turns out the battery's dead. So then I go to see the exhaust fan in the bathroom. They were supposed to replace it, and I find the new exhaust fan is laying on the bed in the bedroom. It was never installed. So now I'm getting a little suspicious. I asked them to grease the wheel bearings and a couple other things. And I looked at the wheels, and you could tell they were dirty. Obviously wasn't washed. And a whole bunch of other things. They had no fingerprints on it. So I went back in there, and I'm like, now I'm mad. Don't get in a redhead's way when she's mad. And they're like, oh, no, I didn't check. I mean, shouldn't you had quality control? So he goes out, and he sees this thing laying on bed. And he's like, okay, we'll have to fix that. And I said, we need it now. So you have to fix it now. And the battery's dead. I said, yes, now you have to recharge the battery for us. Brand new batteries, because it's a brand new rig. So he goes and does that. And I'm like, okay, you didn't do the wheels. That's obvious. I said, there's no fingerprints on it. And obviously he didn't wash it either. So I was like, I'm not paying for that. And then my husband chipped in too. He was like, my wife's right. He's like, you guys didn't touch it. You left it there for a month without doing anything. That's why the battery's dead. We made them fix that, and they made me charge the battery and took the fifth wheel out, and we went to Maine. We figured we could fix the stuff ourselves, which pretty much we could, except for the crack in the one little window, which was there to the day we sold it, which was 12 years later. With that experience, yeah, I think new has its pros and cons, but if you can find a good dealer, but even nowadays, you hear these horror stories. So if you are handy, and even if you're not, you can watch a YouTube video, figure out how to fix things. Maybe used is a better idea. Maybe if it's only a couple years old, there wouldn't be that much wrong with it, if anything at all. Might be one of those people who decided that RV lifestyle would be a great idea and then decided, oh, well, they didn't like it. That could be a great deal for you. It's always something to think about. That's what this whole thing's about. Things to think about, Once you've got the RV, you'll need gear. And trust me, some things you won't want to learn the hard way. Yes, must have RV gear. Sewer hoses? Oh yeah. Water filter? Yes, please. Surge protector. That comes in handy. I don't really want to go into details on it because some of those things, yeah, you definitely need. The sewer hoses, well, that's a no-brainer. You always get new stuff because you never know if there's a little hole in the old one. You don't want that. I could show you that. What is it, the Robin Williams film?
Oh, I gotta go.
It definitely makes you laugh. Water filter. We went to a campground in Arkansas. And it turns out they were pulling the water. It was coming out of their spigots right from the lake. It wasn't even warm. It wasn't even clear. Definitely need a water filter with that. And the surge protector, very handy to have. We've been to some campgrounds where there's been a little, something's wrong with the hookups, and the surge protector helps you with some of that. It will also warn you if the voltage isn't high enough to be able to run your stuff. Also important. Leveling blocks, that's handy to have. We made our own. We actually use big pieces of wood so we can level, because sometimes it's really unlevel where you are, especially we look at camping in state parks. They're sometimes really unlevel. And we carry around like 8 pieces of wood. Definitely good to have. A tire pressure monitor. We learned this big time when we got our horse trailer with living quarters. We put it used. We had the dealer put new tires on for us. That was great. But we didn't realize this. We moved down from New Jersey to Texas. In New Jersey, tires will last like 7 years because the sun is just not that intense. Not like down here in Texas where they say it's like 6 degrees from the sun. My horse was sick, so we didn't really take it out all that much. So it sat there for a couple of years on the dirt in the hot Texas sun. And then we decided we were going to take our anniversary trip without the horses, but we were going to go to Mustang Island. It was only about 3 hours away. We checked all our tires. The tires looked really good. Mistake number 1. We had no tire monitoring system. We get like 2.5 hours down into the run, and all of a sudden we hear bang! One of the tires on the trailer blew. Okay, we have a spare. We never checked the pressure in the spare. It never occurred to us that we'd actually have to use it. We pulled over the side of the road, jacked it up, we got the tire off. When we went to put the other tire on, we realized it didn't have anything. Big tractor trailer pulled over and asked if he could help us. Did we need any help? Actually, yeah. I said, do you by any wild chance have, what do you call it? And he said, yes, I do. He said, we need our spare blown up because there's no air in it. We never thought to check it. And he laughed and he brought it over and he filled up our tire and it was great. So, okay, we're off on our way again. We get like 20 minutes down the road and another tire on the RV blows. But a guy pulled up next to us and he said, you got a flat tire on your trailer. It's like, oh, wow. So we pull off and he actually pulls up with us and he said, can I help you? And we looked at him and we said, we just used our spare for the other tire that's on here. We don't have any more spares. And he said, wait, my dad just bought a trailer. He says, you could borrow our spare if you want, as long as you give it back to us. I said, definitely. Give us your name and number and your address, and we'll give it back to you. We told him where we were going. We were going for like a long weekend. And he said, sure, I can do that. This stranger from nowhere offers us his tire. So you know what? He stores our faith in on the human race, because this story, of course, gets worse. Thank God the horses were not with us. Drive down the road another like 10 minutes, and the next tire blows too. I had no idea it had dry rot on the inside of the tires. They look perfect on the outside. My husband's beside himself, and I'm like, we're ready to cry. And I said, you know damn well the next one's gonna blow too, because 3 out of 4, the odds are not good that that one's gonna last. I said, why don't you unhitch the trailer, take the 2 dead tires we have, go to Discount Tire in Rockport, and he got us 2 new tires. I had to sit there with the horse trailer while he went off. Meanwhile, somebody pulled over and asked, could he help me go? I was standing there by myself, and I told him the story, and he had security on the side of his car and whatnot. He goes, well, so he said, why don't you just stay inside the RV? I'm going up and down this road. He said, I do security for something that was in this area, and he said, I'll come check on you a couple times. There's tons and tons of really super nice people out there. This RV lifestyle, you get to meet a lot of really nice people. See, I had gone off on a tangent. Reel me back in. Well, that was our tire pressure monitor story. We got the motor home. The first thing we bought was a tire monitoring system. Solar power or generator for boondocking. It's a big criteria. Now, we're really looking into boondocking. I think that would be a lot of fun. Being out in the middle of nowhere, peace and quiet, be so cool. We're looking into solar power, but we haven't done anything about that yet because, like everything else, it's expensive. But we do have an onboard generator, but it's definitely something to consider. Planning a trip isn't just about the destination. It's about making sure the journey is smooth. Plan smart, travel happy. Use apps like Campanium, RV Life, Harvest Host, getaways. They all have wonderful apps that are really great for finding your destinations. Always have a backup plan for weather and breakdowns. You saw our backup plan. Sometimes that fails, but weather, really good to have a few weather apps. We saw Hurricane Burl coming last year when we were camping down in South Texas. We knew something was going on, but if you knew about Hurricane Burl, it kept changing direction until we realized it was aiming right for us, and we took off and we left early. Like this Hurricane Burl decided to hurry up and hit the coast. How far to travel per day? Your 3-3-3 rule. This is more important, I think, if you're driving a motorized motorhome rather than driving a fifth wheel. Our F350 dually, and then we had a Ram after that. They were both such comfortable vehicles to drive that we did do 7 and 8 hour runs sometimes if we were really that far away, because it was just so effortless. It really wasn't taxing. Driving the Class A is a whole nother animal. That sucker is like a big sail in the wind. And even with all the steering upgrades that we put on it, which makes it so much easier to drive, it's still, we try to do the 3-3-3 rule. We try not to go more than 330 miles per day, arrive at 3:30, then you have time to relax. Otherwise, if you get there after dark, it's a whole nother set of problems. But if you stick to some little basic rules, it makes everybody so much happier. Because this is supposed to be fun. Here are some of the things I wish someone had told me before I hit the road. Real talk, RV truths. It's not always instant perfect, but sometimes that's where your greatest stories come from. Remember that. Maintenance is constant, but manageable. As you hear from other people, there's always something breaking. I don't know why that is. I guess because you're rolling down the road, it's even with a trailer or fifth wheel or anything, your motorhome, it's like a rolling earthquake. Everything's rattling all the time. Something's gonna give. It might be just a screw falling out. You never know though, you know? But that's half the fun. Another story to tell later on. Community is everything. Facebook groups, campfire chats. In fact, we belong to a Facebook group that's all members of Tiff and family. So when people have a problem, somebody will post, I have this problem, and people will answer, and they give you some really fantastic advice. So a lot of times you can fix these things yourself. So I'm sure that there's groups for travel trailers and truck campers and all those good things. RV life is not just a way to travel, it's a mindset. And it starts with that first step. If this helped you get a clear idea of where to start, let me know in the comments. Got a question? Ask away. I love hearing from you guys. And if you're ready for some more real world tips, behind the scenes stories, and campground discoveries, hit that subscribe button and come along for the ride. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Ring the notification bell to see our next video that usually comes out every Saturday morning, because that's when we watch YouTube videos. I'm Carol Plum from Wild Horses RV Adventures, and I'll see you down the road. Have a good one. And can you see the spider web? It's one of those foggy, misty days. The trailer kind of blends into the background.